So the widow of Dawnese Sahota, that's this guy right here, he's a police officer. And he was shot and killed by a police officer. So the widow, the former wife of Dawnese Sahota, has filed a federal lawsuit against Feller and Clark County for negligence, excessive force, and failure to train. Dawnese Sahota's widow, Dawnese Sahota, is the one who filed the lawsuit. Now, he's the one who's going to get shot. He's the guy that shot him. This is Jonathan Feller. So Jonathan Feller shows up to the scene, and he sees a man in the driveway pick up a gun and run towards the house. Within 4 seconds of arriving, he pulls out his rifle and he shoots Dawnese Sahota in the back, killing him. When he got shot, Dawnese Sahota fell immediately after a period of suffering and agony, and then he died. Now, this wasn't the first person that Jonathan Feller had killed. Jonathan Feller had also killed a guy by the name of Kevin Peterson Jr. in Hazel Dell. And they said that it was a failed drug sting, but somehow the prosecutor said it was justified. So he killed 2 people. One person was a citizen. The other one was a police officer. Now, they didn't say it was justified, but they did say he made an honest mistake that anybody could have made, and he's not going to get charged with killing the police officer. This guy is who they're going to blame for all of it. They're going to blame all of it on this guy right here. And who is this guy? Well, this guy is Segura. Julio Cesar Segura. So he was 20 years old. I think 22 is when the trial had happened. So he's in his 20s. 20-year-old Julio Cesar Segura had robbed a Chevron station. He had jumped in a stolen vehicle and he was being pursued by Clark County deputies. He was able to get out of the town. He was able to drive a good distance away. So basically, he's kind of in the middle of nowhere. He drove out of the city, at one orchard, and then he drove on the interstate, got off the interstate, and then he was driving in a very wooded area. It was said that his truck was disabled, or his vehicle was disabled. And then Julio Cesar Segura started to run on foot. When he's running on foot, he runs down a driveway to Dawnese Sahota's home. And that's when Dawnese Sahota called 911. She called 911. And Dawnese Sahota goes out to confront Julio Cesar Segura. When he goes out to confront them, there's a fight that lasts less than 2 minutes. And at first it looks like Dawnese Sahota was going to arrest Julio Cesar Segura. He was going to arrest him. But then there's resistance, and then Julio Cesar Segura is going to stab Dawnese Sahota 3 times. During the fight, Dawnese Sahota loses control of his gun. Now, we could see all of this with a video camera from a helicopter. There was like 2 different aircrafts. One aircraft has like this pretty sharp, just black and white video. Like right here, look at this. So this was, I want to say this is at nighttime, or I don't know for sure, but there's 2. Okay, you see 2 people right here, right? 2 dark objects. This is Dawnese Sahota's house. Dawnese Sahota is right there. And then Julio Cesar Segura is right there. And so Donald is confronting Julio. Donald is going to arrest almost arrest Julio. Julio's going to get on the ground. Donald's getting on top of him. And then there's a struggle. And then the struggle, you can't really tell. There's not much action in terms of like Hollywood. No cowboy punches or helicopter kicks. And I'm not sure when the stabbing had happened. He drops the gun. We see that. And then after 2 minutes, we see Julio run into the house. He kicks the door in, hits the wife in the head, and then he's inside the house. He shuts the door. After he runs into the house, that's when Jonathan Feller comes up. The people in the helicopter or in the aircraft told him where to turn into the driveway. So the police officer arrives on the scene, and when he arrives on the scene, Julio had already ran inside the house. And all we see is Dawnese Sahota. Dawnese Sahota is right there in the driveway. He had dropped his gun during the fight. He just had Julio run inside of his house. The police car just pulled up. Well, he wants to go chase the guy that just ran into his house. Now it looks like he might harm the wife. Who knows what he's doing inside the house. So Dawnese Sahota grabs the gun, runs onto the porch, and then that's when Jonathan Feller shoots Dawnese Sahota. He shoots 4 times, 3 times it hits him. He shoots him with the rifle with the .223 caliber. Is that 223? So with the .223 caliber bullet, he shoots 4 times. 3 of them are shot into the back. Jonathan Feller shoots within 4 seconds after he stops the patrol car. So just to review real quickly again, Dawnese Sahota, this guy was off duty in plain clothes at his own home. The guy that had robbed the Chevron station is just running through the woods, and he picks this house. And then here's Jonathan Feller. Jonathan Feller, he doesn't get in any trouble for shooting and killing Dawnese Sahota. And then this is Julio Segura. So let's take a look at this police video compilation. There you see kind of dancing. He gets on the ground. Julio's on the ground. And it looks like he's going to make an arrest. Now maybe he's got handcuffs. Maybe he doesn't have handcuffs. He's got a gun. So since he has a gun on him, it's like he's got him pinned down. He's got his leg on him or something. But then Julio says he's physically resisting. They have like little captions here. So you see him struggling back and forth, right? He's not able to hold him down. And then when Julio stabs him, he says that he had thought that he had killed him. And the coroner did say that maybe that was the stabbing. Was that the stabbing right there? Because they're still moving. And look, he drops his handgun. The coroner does say that the stab wounds were life-threatening, but that's not what ended up killing him. It was the rifle shots that killed him. So now you got 2 of them. They're still on the ground. Not much movement there. The handgun is on the pavement. They seem to be halfway in the yard, halfway in the driveway. And this is all being watched by some sort of helicopter, some sort of aerial device, drone, something. I don't know what this is. Because we don't stay with this. We go to... There's a different guy that comes up. So we're going to switch to a different video. And is that somebody at the door? Is she at the door? So you see, there he is. Now, Julio was about to run inside the house right there.
Yeah, he's got this guy on the ground.
Okay, so we're going to see the same things, okay? This is going to be the same thing. I just want to make a comment. I wish I had never knocked on that door. That's what he says. So they're going to put it all on him. And while his robbery and then, fleeing does set off these chain of events, shouldn't the police officer that fired the weapon that ended up killing the other police officer, shouldn't he be culpable for something? And was he being negligent? I mean, he didn't determine that the guy that he was shooting at was actually the bad guy. Is that excessive force to shoot and kill somebody that didn't do a damn thing to shoot and kill the hero? Yeah, that's pretty excessive. Failure to train. I think that this is an obvious lawsuit and the county should just pay the money over because they clearly messed up. Now let's watch some more of this. This did happen in 2022.
I can't tell. It looks like they might be fighting.
But the federal lawsuit just
You're recording, right?
started recently.
Yeah.
So there they are. They're struggling. They're struggling, right? You still see the driveway. You still see the lawn. So they haven't fell over onto the lawn yet. And there, he dropped the handgun. And I'm not sure exactly when he stabbed him. Because it said he stabbed him 3 times.
Code 3 response. Come in.
Is that his gun on the ground?
And then they can tell, too. They said, is that the gun on the ground?
Stop using these things.
So that's actually remarkable technology, to be honest with you. It's not body heat, because how would a gun have body heat?
A hot thing just fell like a gun or something, and they're still wrestling in the front.
I'm not sure what this camera's picking up. Is it movement? Because there's no body heat on the gun, so why would the gun be just as...
Where are they?
Alright, it's to their east right there. They're on the road. They're on the access
So
road.
there's a police officer. That's probably Jonathan Feller right there.
Okay, come in.
And they're going to tell was one of the cops. There's another cop. Okay, so you got 2 cops.
He got out of his car, I think.
And they
Okay,
said,
you're going to have to run up. It's a little ways up there.
make a right-hand turn right there. So Jonathan Feller is going to be the first one on the scene. Julio's going to run away. And then Donald is the one that's left behind. So the police cars are coming in. There's Julio. Julio runs inside the house. And so Donald is still here on the ground, on the lawn. Within 4 seconds, Deputy Feller is going to shoot and kill Dawnese Sahota. Now, I can kind of understand what he's saying, but I also kind of don't. He was saying that if he didn't shoot him and he turned out to be the bad guy, then people would have got mad because he didn't stop the threat. Yeah, maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Open up your damn eyes, you know. I got a lot of details here. I just want to make sure this is in Battleground, someplace called Battleground. This is Washington State. This happened January 29th, 2022. Okay, so you saw him pick up the gun. He's run up onto the porch. He's got his rifle already pulled out. Now I think you see a couple shots out of his rifle. They say he shot 4 times. I only kind of see, like, it looks like, you know, dust or dirt or smoke coming out of his gun. I only saw it twice. But it says he fired 4 rounds from his rifle. So we're paused right now. 1, 2, okay, 3, 4. Yeah, he did shoot 4 times. And then you see movement on the porch. You kind of see some sort of, was that an arm or a leg? He pretty much drops immediately, and then out of the garage comes the wife. And then eventually they're going to, you know, arrest Julio. Julio is going to surrender himself. Dawnese Sahota is 52 years of age. He's a 20-year veteran on the force, 6-year veteran of Vancouver PD. Vancouver is 10 miles north of Portland. So it's right there along the border of Oregon and Washington State. Donald Sahota is 52 years of age. He's married and father of 2. Julio Segura is going to be convicted, and he's going to get 29 years in prison. That happened in June 2024. During the fight, Donald Sahota lost control of his gun. He was stabbed by Segura 3 times. Julio Segura had robbed the Chevron station, stole a vehicle, and he was being pursued by the Clark County deputies. They disabled his car. He started to run on foot. He shows up to this residence. Dawnese calls 911 on Julio. Donald goes out to confront him. A fight happens. The fight lasts less than 2 minutes. Jonathan Feller arrives, shoots and kills Donald Sahota. No criminal charges are filed on John Feller. And in 2020, Jonathan Feller had killed another man, Kevin Peterson Jr. and Hazel Dell, during a failed drug sting. And that's all the details that I have. So RIP to this guy. Well, actually, I got Donald Sahota. RIP to Donald Sahota. This guy here is still on the force. He's still a deputy, but he's not on patrol. So he's already shot and killed 2 people. One they clearly say is a mistake. But I wonder if Donald Sahota wasn't a cop, if they would have just planted a gun on him, or if people would have just shrugged their shoulders and said, who cares? And then Julio Segura was sentenced to 29 years in jail. So because of this guy, he's not going to get in any personal, I don't think they're not suing him in this personal capacity, they're suing the counties. So they're suing the government organization that he represents. So there's insurance, so he will not lose any money. He won't serve any punishment except for, the dirty looks by citizens and cops alike. But the county's going to be charged, and then that's taxpayer money. I don't know how good their insurance is. I don't know what insurance covers these types of things. I'm sure they're not going to be happy about that. And I hope the widow wins her court case. Because they were negligent. There was failure to train, and excessive force against the hero. You probably shouldn't have used any force against the hero. Yeah, I know, you just showed up to the scene, you didn't know what had happened, but it just kind of shows you how precious those seconds are. You're driving around, where's it at, where's it at? If you would have turned into the driveway right away and got to the end, how long did it take you to, get in the car? How long did it take you to get there? Because if Jonathan Feller would have just showed up 10 seconds prior, he would have seen that there was 2 people and that they were fighting. And if he would have tried to put pieces together, just because there's a gun on the ground, if you're a robber, you're going to put your gun on the ground and then just kind of wait for the cops to show up, and then if he'd been there 10 seconds at least, I would have thought that he probably would have seen 1 or 2 at the time. But if he would have got there just 10 seconds earlier, then he would have seen 2 people were struggling. Then he would say, well, heck, I don't know which one is which. I don't know which one's the good one, which one's the bad one. I should hold off and give chase. And, if is a pretty big word for just being 2 letters. If that was the robber and he runs into the house and had hurt people, they might have blamed him. But they seem to give him big leeway, and if they're going to say that killing a cop is a mistake, then letting the robber go into the house. Because remember, the robber just had the knife. He didn't have a gun. So cop shows up to the scene, sees a guy pick up a gun from the driveway, runs into the house. Clearly, that's the bad guy. A lot of times cops are trigger happy and they just shoot first and ask questions later. So that's what's going on in this court case with Dawnese Sahota and Julio Segura and Jonathan Feller.